Takumi Saito was just a totally average high school boy who never stood out. During class, he'd take notes, and after school, he'd chat with friends about video games and manga. At his school, there was Shiho Matsumoto, renowned as a perfect beauty. Shiho excelled at the top of her grade, served as student council president, and had even won a local beauty pageant. Thanks to her looks, intelligence, and refined manners, everyone respected her. President Matsumoto is shining again today. She's totally out of our league, huh? People would whisper every time she walked by. Takumi would watch her from a distance, but he felt something off about how perfect she seemed. She was just too flawless. Her expressions were always composed, and she hardly showed any emotion.
I don't know, she feels so perfectly crafted, like she fits into a mold.
After school, Takumi scrolled through social media on his phone, checking out the latest manga and anime news. Suddenly, a certain account's post caught his eye. Posts like, "Just finished the new volume. It's so epic I could cry." And "Where's the timeline where my fave is happy?" filled the feed. Curious, Takumi checked the profile. The account name was Otashi Norin. The icon was a cute illustration, but then he noticed a photo that drew his attention.
That background, I feel like I've seen it somewhere before.
He casually scrolled through older posts. One photo showed a bunch of books spread out on a desk.
Wait, isn't that the bookshelf in the student council room?
In another post, the corner of a school uniform sleeve was visible. The distinctive embroidery looked exactly like their school's uniform.
No way. Could this be Shiho Matsumoto?
Takumi's heart started pounding. Who would ever guess the perfect student council president was secretly posting such passionate otaku content? His hand trembled slightly, but he couldn't resist his curiosity. On a whim, Takumi sent that account a direct message.
You like that series? I just got hooked on it too.
The moment he hit send, his heart raced. He never imagined he'd connect with that perfect beauty this way. Takumi watched his phone for a while after sending the DM. He didn't really expect a reply, but he kept checking the screen anyway. A few minutes later, his phone vibrated with a notification.
Seriously? Who's your fave? I'm so hyped.
Takumi could hardly believe his eyes. He never expected such a quick response.
She's super excited. Is this really Shiho Matsumoto?
A bit confused, Takumi told her which character he liked, and she immediately replied with a long message.
That character is amazing. Weren't their expressions in that scene just mind-blowing? Right? They're so precious.
Her enthusiasm was completely different from her usual demeanor at school. Takumi couldn't help but chuckle.
She's so cool at school, but here she is geeking out like crazy.
From that day on, they kept DMing each other. They got so into talking about their favorite series that sometimes they'd stay up late. One night, as Takumi lay in bed staring at his phone, he thought about the two sides of Shiho, the one at school and the one online. They felt like two different people.
Has she been hiding this side of herself the whole time?
Behind her mask of a perfect beauty, maybe there's a real person she never shows anyone else. A few weeks passed, and exchanging DMs had become routine. They recommended manga and anime to each other and shared their thoughts. One day, Takumi passed by the student council room. Glancing in, he saw Shiho organizing some paperwork by herself. The door was slightly open, and he could see the contents of her bag on the desk. Peeking out from the bag was a manga he'd just recommended to her the day before.
Wait, seriously?
She hadn't noticed him yet, focused on her organizing.
She already bought the manga we talked about yesterday?
Without thinking, Takumi spoke up, continuing their DM conversation in real life.
Oh, that's the manga from yesterday. How is it? Pretty good?
Shiho froze on the spot. After a few seconds of silence, she slowly looked up, clearly surprised.
Huh?
Takumi realized he'd messed up. He'd basically revealed himself as the person from her secret account.
Oh crap, I messed up big time.
Silence filled the student council room. Shiho narrowed her eyes and fixed them on Takumi.
Takumi?
His heart skipped a beat. That perfect beauty was staring at him with suspicion and confusion.
I can't run from this.
Alone together in the quiet student council room, Takumi took a slow breath and prepared himself.
You found me out?
At his words, Shiho stayed silent for a while, her eyes still locked on him as if carefully choosing her next words.
So you're the one I've been DMing with?
Takumi nodded without breaking eye contact. Running wouldn't help now. If she suspected this much, she'd figure it out eventually.
Yeah. Sorry, I wasn't trying to hide it, but I never expected you'd find out like this.
Shiho sighed softly, then picked up the manga on the desk. She ran her fingers over the cover and let out a small laugh.
I never thought something like this would happen in the student council room.
Same here. I never imagined our super perfect president would have this kind of hobby.
She smiled, but Takumi noticed a hint of tension in her expression. Seeing that, he spoke gently.
Don't worry, I won't tell anyone. Nobody at school knows you're an otaku. I'll keep it just between us.
Those words seemed to ease the tension on her face. She quietly closed the manga and looked Takumi in the eye.
Thank you, I can trust you, right?
Of course, actually I'm honored to know such a rare secret.
In that moment, Shiho exhaled as though a heavy weight had been lifted from her shoulders.
Heh. It's kind of surprising that it was you all along, Takumi.
You really think so?
Yeah. I never pegged you as someone who'd get so passionate about this stuff.
Right back at you. I didn't think the usually cool President Matsumoto would be so hyper in her DMs.
Shiho rubbed the back of her neck, looking a little embarrassed.
I can't help it. When it comes to things I love, I just lose control.
I totally get that. Once you start talking about your fave, there's no stopping you.
Shiho's eyes widened in surprise, and then her cheeks went a little red.
I don't know why, but hearing you say that makes me kinda happy.
A peculiar atmosphere settled between them in the quiet student council room. Takumi noticed the change in her expression, but said nothing more. From that day on, Takumi and Shiho's relationship began to shift little by little. After that day, their relationship changed in small but noticeable ways. They used to be just the student council president and a classmate, but now Shiho approached Takumi more often.
Hey, Takumi, did you read the new volume yesterday? That twist was wild, right?
Yeah, I did, but I never thought I'd be talking about otaku stuff at school with the student council president.
Their classmates began to notice something odd. The usually composed president started showing special expressions only around Takumi.
Dude, Takumi, lately you've been talking with the president a lot, haven't you?
Huh? It's not that big a deal, right?
But Takumi himself knew Shiho was acting differently. She showed him glimpses of her real self she never displayed before. One day after school, Takumi was heading out when he saw Shiho waiting near the school gate.
President Matsumoto, what are you doing here?
I thought we could walk home together.
She spoke shyly. Surprised, Takumi didn't have a reason to refuse, so they walked side by side.
I never imagined I'd be walking home with the student council president. This feels kinda surreal.
It's that strange?
Well, think about it. Everyone looks up to the perfect beauty, but here she is walking with an average guy like me.
Shiho paused for a moment, then smiled softly.
But you see me as a normal person you can talk to, right?
Yeah, I guess I do.
She looked kind of happy when she heard that. After that, Shiho became more relaxed around Takumi. One weekend, he was reading manga in a cafe when someone suddenly sat across from him.
I knew I'd find you here.
Whoa, President, why are you here?
Didn't you say you often read manga at this cafe? I remembered.
Takumi's heart skipped a beat. He hadn't expected her to recall such a trivial detail.
I mean, yeah, I did mention that, but I never thought you'd actually come looking for me.
Is it a bother?
No, it's just kinda surprising.
So they ended up spending more and more time together. Then one day, Shiho did something that changed everything. Takumi was walking down the hallway when someone tugged on his sleeve from behind.
Huh?
Hey, come with me.
She grabbed his arm and pulled him into a secluded stairwell where no one could see them.
What's going on all of a sudden?
Takumi, what do you think of me?
Her serious gaze made Takumi's heart pound.
Well, I mean...
I'm really happy when I'm with you, so...
She hesitated for a moment before speaking in a small voice.
I want to know more about you, Takumi.
That was the moment Takumi realized that the most admired girl in school was directing special feelings toward him.
Is this what I think it is?
After that day, Shiho's behavior changed even more. Shiho's words, "I want to know more about you," kept replaying in Takumi's mind. The next day, when Takumi entered the classroom, Shiho was already waiting by his desk.
Morning, Takumi.
Morning. Why are you waiting for me here?
I just wanted to talk to you.
Her cheerful smile made Takumi's classmates stare in disbelief.
Holy crap. President Matsumoto was waiting for Saito?
Before, she kept a polite distance at school. Now, she was chatting with Takumi in plain view, not caring who saw. It went on at lunchtime, too. As Takumi was picking out bread at the cafeteria, she tugged on his sleeve.
Takumi, want to eat together?
Soon, they found themselves eating lunch together on the rooftop every day.
People are definitely gonna think we're dating.
Is that bad?
Shiho blushed slightly and looked up at Takumi. Heart pounding, he returned her gaze.
Well, it's not bad, but
He could feel his own heart rate rise. After school, they started walking home together more often. One day, they took a detour through a local park.
It's so different walking around with you like this, Takumi.
aren't you busy with student council stuff? You sure you have time for me?
I want to spend that time with you, Takumi.
Surprised, Takumi stopped walking. Shiho stopped too, turning to face him.
You're the only one who knows my secret.
Her words carried a certain weight. Takumi took a deep breath.
You're really okay with me?
I want it to be you, Takumi.
That was the moment Takumi felt certain her feelings had become unmistakable. Likewise, Takumi realized he had feelings for Shiho too. The next morning, the school was buzzing.
Hey, did you hear? People are saying President Matsumoto is dating Takumi Saito.
Stunned, Takumi looked around to see Shiho heading straight for him.
Morning, Takumi.
Before he could respond, Shiho continued in a clear voice.
Hey, it's about time we made it official, don't you think?
Made what official?
Shiho smiled calmly and took his hand, completely unconcerned about the stares around them.
We're dating.
Instantly, people started buzzing, and Takumi's cheeks burned hot.
Hey, wait a minute.
But Shiho didn't waver at all, firmly holding on to Takumi's hand. And just like that, news of the student council president and Takumi dating spread throughout the entire school. From that day on, Takumi's school life changed completely. Everyone knew he was dating Shiho Matsumoto.
Saito, man, explain yourself. How did you end up with the president?
I'm just as shocked as you are.
His friends kept asking questions, but he still couldn't quite wrap his head around it himself. Despite that, Shiho continued her duties as student council president, while finding more ways to spend time with Takumi. During lunch, whenever Takumi tried to eat on the rooftop, Shiho would appear by his side before he knew it.
Takumi, want some of this?
Wait, you brought lunch for me too?
Yeah. I made it this morning and wanted you to have some.
Takumi could hardly believe that the perfect president would actually cook just for him. After school, Takumi was helping out in the gym when Shiho suddenly popped in.
It's rare to see you here, President.
I just wanted to see you, Takumi.
The whole club froze at her words.
What?
Dude, Takumi, what heroic deed did you do in a past life?
I wish I knew.
While Takumi stood there flustered, Shiho simply smiled and gently tugged on his arm.
Hey, let's head home together.
Seeing them walk side by side was becoming a common sight around campus. One day, Takumi overheard some students saying, "Where's our lovely Shiho today?" He laughed awkwardly and mentioned it to her.
You know we're being watched like crazy, right? You cool with that?
Yeah, I'm fine. I'm having fun whenever I'm with you, Takumi.
Takumi blushed, but he squeezed her hand in return. And so the relationship between the perfect beauty and an ordinary boy became the envy of the entire school.